All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to, I guess this is what we do on the off season is we focus in on the F1 world a little bit more. So welcome into the dive. It's not Juventus today. It is, well, I'm dressed up in Ferrari colors anyway. So Elkin's other boys are going to be participating this morning. So welcome. If I could, before we get underway with everything, you know, as we do, beg and just demand you to hit that like and subscribe button because it pushes the algorithm. It's how we grow. It's how we get out to other people. So if you don't mind, please do hit the like, subscribe, the follow, whichever platform we are on, which is currently YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and X. So thank you everyone for joining me this morning or this afternoon if you're in Europe or other parts of the world. But here in Canada, we are looking at a 9 a.m. start to the race. Not a bad time, honestly. I like this time slot. Can't complain too much. You know, gives me the rest of my Sunday morning, so I hope it all works out for everyone. And the starting grid, did you guys watch qualifying yesterday? Have you guys been watching the practices and anything this weekend? Because as a Ferrari fan, everyone has put Ferrari as the favorites this weekend. Practice 1, 2, 3. Everything looked good in practice, and then it came down. Oh, I guess practice 3. Maybe some of the other guys started to show up a little more, start to turn it on, figure things out, and we saw finally in qualifying. My lord, we expect Max Verstappen, and already my camera I had it on for half an hour, ready to go, and already my camera's blanking out. Anyways, Max Verstappen, my lord, putting it on second because is it the new great? Kimi Antonelli? Again? And we know how Monaco goes. We don't know necessarily if this year will be a procession, the parade. Bit different of a car. Well, I guess that's yet to be determined. But if it has been anything like years past, if the Mercedes doesn't blow up, which is sometimes these Mercedes power units, McLaren's as well, maybe not the best for reliability. I don't know. We'll see. But that aside, lead the race. Don't screw up. Get a good start. Does Kimi Antonelli make it 5 straight, just smashing record? I as much as I'm not really a Mercedes fan, man, I'm loving Kimi Antonelli, my lord. Lisa Ifremis, yeah, I'm just gonna call you Lisa. It's hard to figure out the name sometimes. Lisa, welcome in. She's saying hi. Thanks for joining. So this could be, I don't know, man. Like 3 and 4 is Hamilton, Leclerc. Leclerc even getting beat out by Hamilton 2 weeks in a row now. This is Leclerc's track. This is his hometown. He grew up here. Oh man, he's disappointed. And he's been leading to between him and Hamilton to now start in 4th place on this kind of track. Whichever start advantage Ferrari has, it's pretty much gone now. Kimi has been known not to start the greatest. That might be a factor, but the run up into turn 1 is quite short. It really track position is just absolutely huge. So I would be interesting to see if Antonelli does have a bit of a hiccup on the start. Uh, the Red Bulls haven't even had the greatest starts out there. But again, short run up. Does Ferrari get a jump on any of them? That will be hard to see. You got Hadjar in 5th place as well. Russell in 6th. The 2 McLaren 7th and 8th. So the big names, the 4 big teams, a little split up through it. Well, yeah, they're split up other than the Ferraris 3 and 4. I guess I can give you the live table here. Take a look at our starting grid. We have Bortoletto starting from the pits as well. Obviously smashing up his car. that would have been for breaking park for May rules, of course, after that smash up in qualifying. Not much in that one. Kissed the guardrails going into the Nouvelle chicane, and it was just enough to smash the suspension off. So unfortunate there. Audi was looking decent this weekend. Hulkenberg, at the end of the day, finishes 13th. He didn't have enough really in P2 to crank it up, but he was sitting in 5th, I think, in P1. So tough for the Audis. You have Pierre Gasly again having a decent season, sitting in 9th, Lawson in 10th. Both Williams, Albon, Sainz 11, 12, Hulkenberg there in 13th, Pinto in 14th, Lindblad in 15th, Bertoletto 16th. Then you have Ocon, Perez, Behrman, Bottas, and then of course the two Aston Martins, Alonso, and who else is going to be the slower of the two Aston Martins? Bringing up the rear, Lance Stroll, of course, the hometown hero. No, I'm not a Kardashian. Why would you think I'm a Kardashian? I've never even watched a Kardashian show. I wouldn't know who the hell the Kardashians were if they were such just a name in pop culture. No, I don't give a flying fuck about the Kardashians. Oh no. No, I'm not. Nor would I want to be involved in that kind of nonsense. Insane. They don't even live real lives, man. They live like a social media life. We have a practice start infringement by Perez. Okay. Well, we didn't get to see that. Hopefully, the feed does give it to us because we are getting the lineups right now on the live feed. If you don't have the live feed, I'll commentate as much as I can. I mean, that is what I'm here to do, right? But we're also here to have a discussion, so it won't be pure commentation throughout today. We'll kind of bounce back and forth. I'm really hoping for an exciting race. Again, alluding to the fact that it tends to be a procession here in Monaco. But these new cars, for what they're worth, are not worth. You know, they are not limited in terms of their battery power, their power units on this track. So that nonsense we saw in the previous races with engine clipping, all that battery crap, if you will, it seems to be mitigated for the most part on this track because it is low speed. It's all corners, right? And that is why, with Ferrari having to be knowing to have the best chassis, was killing it all weekend, right? It's just so it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. Is that chassis is maybe that Ford, that Mercedes engine can just kill it on a qualifying lap? How does the race pace? Do they fall off? Is there any passing opportunities? Really, I feel in terms of the 6 Grand Prix we have had this year with these new regulations, this one kind of, I guess, not presents questions more so than anyone else, especially the first couple races. This season has been nothing but questions, but it's just the uniqueness of the track. How now, with taking away the battery nonsense, what are we going to see? What spectacle do we get? Right? It's not going to be open high speed racing. It's not going to be what we see back and forth between like Charles and Hamilton, or even last weekend with Kimi and Russell. It's those kinds of questions that I have. So it makes it hard to predict now, of course. Now, I feel like Antonelli loses position, and that's another thing now. We have Verstappen the GOAT, right? Sitting right in behind Antonelli. No longer do we have Boy George you know, and his I'm not a fan of George because I don't think he's a champion. I think he's overhyped. I think he's a whiny little bitch. Um, when the pressure comes down on George, it's not there. But Verstappen, he's stone cold, and now he's right behind Antonelli. Okay, so formation lap is underway. Other than 3 cars, we are all starting on softs. And on those softs, we have Bortoleto, Perez, and Bottas. So the 2 Cadillacs and Bortoleto coming out of the pits, trying a bit more of an aggressive strategy, I suppose. See how that works out for him, but he's gonna have a rough day regardless, coming out of the pit, sitting back there. So what do you guys think? Is it gonna be one of these high-flying 2026 races, or is it gonna lock right down? Of notes, if you guys haven't heard already, this previous week, Charles Leclerc's on for a couple more years. Exact details not out yet about that, but he is set to just have the longest contract ever. So that's happening. Also, rumors, if you will, Bortoleto was seen talking to James Vowell. So is there some movement over there? You know, is it Sainz that moves or Albon that one moves out of Williams? Again, just like Charles, I see Alex Albon kind of like a mainstay at Williams. I don't know. You know, what kind of attachment does Alex have with Williams? Is he willing to move to another team? And then what teams, right? So we're starting to get into that silly season. So George on the chopping block, of course, as he's fallen behind the 19-year-old Kimi Antonelli, which I'm absolutely here for. Absolutely. Why not? I love it. I mean, obviously Italian bias. There's some Italian bias here at this channel, of course. All right. Well, Kimi has taken his spot. Let's get ready. This is about to happen, ladies and gentlemen. If you need me to zoom in on any of this throughout the race, let me know. Track temperature 41.5 degrees, air 23.6 at 6.6 humidity. Basically no wind. 0.6 meters per second. It's a light breeze. Aston Martin's bringing up the rear here. Here's Lance Stroll pretending to warm up his tires like he knows what he's doing. Okay. And this is obviously ahead of my stream, so I'm gonna stop looking at that for a second and commentate this live as 5 lights and they're out, and we have the start. And Charles makes a jump. It is Max that has dropped out of the order, and he is dead in the water, and it's a Ferrari 2-3. Kimi keeps the lead. So something catastrophic. And I mentioned that those Fords and Mercedes, those engines fast, but can they hold together? Apparently not. Max Verstappen is moving, but is far, far back at the moment. I don't know if it was just a start procedure or if there's an actual mechanical failure that is preventing him from continuing on. We will catch up to that right now. But Kimi out in clean air. So it's the Italian with the Italian team going first, second, and third. I don't think people will be too upset if this is how it finishes. Okay, so Verstappen, he is still going 14 seconds off the pace. And I mean, no incident otherwise. He just stalled out. Something happened there. Nobody else making contact. Everyone's clean on the track as we go. I love this third sector as well. A lot of people crashing out, uh, especially in qualifying. Verstappen saying, "What should I do? Just bring it home, please, Max." Ooh, so he is retiring. That's brutal. Oh, I was so here for Max riding on the tail of Kimi Antonelli. But no joke, you have Lewis Hamilton. I mean, that's still quite a challenge to have on you as well, right? It's the not so whiny Brit of Lewis Hamilton, 2.3 seconds back on the leader, Kimi Antonelli. So Behrman, Bottas, Bortoleto all going into the pits. And Max is in the pits as well. So something happening at the rear of the grid as well. We'll have to catch back on that one. Well, I mean, there's talking points at the very least there. It was and otherwise, I mean, we're in the procession here otherwise, right? Norris dropping the spot actually. Gasly moving up into 7th, which I'm all here for too. I'm not Norris as well is another overhyped British driver. And the media is doing these guys injustices because they're giving them big heads, and now we're seeing the true reality of their skill here, right? Their limits as their younger, sexier teammates are starting to outperform them. Man, Antonelli, he's just holding 3 seconds. Is he just that good? Is Antonelli just that good? But the two, yeah, Charles and Lewis there within a second. They're holding it nice and tight. Russell, couple seconds off Hadjar. And man, this is interesting because they're not necessarily keeping it super tight to each other. There's a couple guys here. Gasly pressuring, or it's Norris pressuring Gasly. Gasly about a second and a half off Piastri ahead. And we know Norris and Piastri, there's probably a bit of internal battling going on there as well. I expect that, especially through silly season. Is that one of the movements? Piastri moving to Red Bull if Max moves on. I can see, especially after DNF here. Yeah, that could really switch things up. But that's I mean 3.7 seconds. Are they playing a long game, Ferrari, right now? Because there's 2+ seconds between Leclerc and Hadjar, now sitting in 4th. And Antonelli's just, man, there's either some sort of strategy going here with Ferrari. Like in the grand scheme of things right now, realistically, when you're looking at the points on the board, if Hamilton, Leclerc finish their second and third, because it is next to impossible to pass here, right? Their cumulative points in second and third, as opposed to first and fifth of Mercedes, it gets them a couple of points closer. So is this again more of a long game in terms of season? Looking at the whole season here. Taking a look at the start again. So Verstappen does kind of move. Like the car does move. It wasn't completely dead in the water. We'll hear about that later, but Max, man, with a hell of a lap too. That was well done by Charles just to squirt by the stalled Verstappen, because Verstappen was pulling right. He was looking for that inside line. He was going aggressive. And things can't be good at Red Bull right now. Even Hadjar yesterday in qualifying was just berating the engineer over the radio, getting upset at the setup. Oh, Russell getting cleared. George is outside of his grid box. Interesting. So they don't penalize George, which is not spread. Like, do you subscribe to that? British drivers won't get those 50-50 calls put against them. You know, there's a few instances of it happening because they've been harsh with that before. Now there's all these sensors and GPS, but that's the thing. GPS doesn't work well in the streets of Monaco. So I'd be interested to see what the data points were on that because they have been very strict in the past couple years about being perfectly within the limits of your starting box. And if Norris saw it, like that's hard. Your sitting position in the car, for one, makes it hard to get into that box. I mean, from the outside, it looks easy. But then to have another driver be able to see that you're out a few millimeters. But as it stands, no change. So this, this is Monaco. So if there's any discussion points anybody does want to bring up, of course, drop them into the chat. We can have a conversation about this because, yeah, it's Monaco, right? So 7 laps in at the moment of the 78. And other than that early drama, we're just going for a Sunday cruise around the harbor. Hamilton 4.3 back on Antonelli. Like I know the Mercedes car is good. But you have Russell in 5th, who was supposed to be the championship leader. You know, if you were going to listen to all the preseason reports, and he hasn't done bad. Like the Mercedes is a rocket ship. But you have George Russell currently in 5, stuck between Hadjar and Piastri. Like he's not going to go anywhere. He might, maybe he can take Hadjar at some point. But Antonelli's 5 seconds out ahead in the lead. I'm trying to hold back. It happens so often. We see it, especially in football, like European football. These young kids come up and we absolutely glaze the shit out of them, and they just kind of become whatever, right? But what Antonelli is doing, perpetual question in F1, what if he was in a different car? Is the Merc just that good? But again, Russell's sitting there in 5th. If he finishes in 1st today, that's 5 straight on all different kinds of tracks, right? There's the cross section of data that we're getting. Max Verstappen, sometimes there's a failure to launch. Perez drive-through penalty, false start, out of position. So Perez, and now this is what I'm talking about, British bias, right? And I would love to see the data. So I'm speculating a little bit, but George Russell getting away with being out of position on the start, whereas Perez gets a drive-through. I don't know. Just saying. Yeah, Kimmy's 5 seconds ahead now. He's getting a tenth or so a lap, just pulling away. Leclerc 4 seconds back on Hamilton, just staying out of that dirty air essentially is what's happening. And Hadjar 3 seconds back there. And I think he's gonna be comfortable. If Hadjar gets a 4th place finish today with Verstappen DNFing, that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent with the track record Verstappen's had this year. Hadjar being a sophomore, second year, new guy, if you will, especially with how Red Bull's fired all the young drivers. But Norris is right on top of Gasly, so maybe, just maybe, we have a look at an overtake here today. Yeah, so we're looking at Perez and how he's starting in the grid. Maybe a bit to the right. I mean, that wasn't a great look. So again, the actual data points on where he was sitting in the box as opposed to George Russell. Mind you, Perez still in 18th position, like he's he's not fighting for points in the grand scheme of this all. It doesn't make a huge difference for Perez, but if Russell was truly out of his box position and he had a drive through, that would certainly change things up. So I wonder too, does that have it? Like, are they playing games with us, to keep things interesting? I don't know. Lots of speculation out there on the internet about these things. But it seems like that 4-second gap is what people are happy with today, thereabouts, just to give themselves enough of that clean air. Also, Leclerc, they're already within traffic. They're already lapping some guys here. Man, and that was Leclerc passing Bottas in that situation, who was 19th. So that was a look at third passing 19. So yeah, there's there's a lot more of this happening off camera at the moment. That I wonder. I wonder if that can add any excitement. Somebody blocking, obstructing, maybe contact. I don't know. Hey, Audi gets Hulkenberg here coming into the pits now. Putting on some hards. 0.6. That wasn't a bad pit stop. Hulkenberg coming out here in 14th. Hamilton within 3.7 now, so he's brought 1.4 seconds back on that split. So is this a tire game? Is Hamilton picking up? Santinelli slowing down a touch. Nobody out front has made their pit stop yet, so strategy perhaps coming into play. Kimmy coming through some of the back markers as well here. So lots of traffic. I think that might be a bit of a determining factor here today is the fact that the grid is that spread part on this small track. And We're only at lap 14, so this is probably going to happen at least a couple more times. Russell just over a second away. Now you don't have your straight line mode, your overtakes, like the battery trickery is out of it, right? So Russell's gonna have to do this on merit. 1 second out now. Hadjar is falling away from Leclerc at the moment, so it seems like Hadjar cannot keep things tidy up here. And yeah, the Red Bull once again a discussion point in terms of is it their pace? Is it the car itself? Is it the setup, the engineering, the strategy? What is it at Red Bull that it just seems to be falling apart for them? This can't keep it hooked up. Impressive though that their engine of all things, throwing a new engine at it. And then that seems to be the okay thing of it all. Hamilton on the radio, there's a lot of degradation on these tires. The rears are very hot. That being said, he said that fairly calmly. It was just a matter of fact. How is that affecting any of the other cars? I would imagine Hamilton's not alone in that. But he's 3 seconds back on Antonelli. So is Antonelli's tires, are they going? But now as Hamilton gets closer to Antonelli, air starts to get dirtier. Is that the strategy of Antonelli? Just back into Hamilton a bit to save his own tires while degrading Hamilton's? All part of the games they play. And it's not a Max Verstappen 45-second lead, but an Elbon going through the Nouvelle chicane, locking up. Russell still about a second back on Hadjar, but Hadjar now 8 seconds back on Leclerc. So Russell's gonna get frustrated here. I would expect him. He's gonna have to make something of this. Russell on the radio. Hadjar has front left grading. He won't be out there much longer. So, okay. So they're gonna go for an overcut on him. Let Hadjar go into the pits, and then Russell can get into some free air, put a couple more laps on these mediums, and see how they come out afterwards, right? Hadjar on the radio now. They didn't write it out. I have the volume on low, but they were talking about tires needing to be changed, just as we were discussing there. So imagine Hadjar coming into the pits pretty soon. Yeah, Russell just keeping the distance. They're going through the hairpin. Come through the tunnel now. Does he have a jump? If anywhere, this is like the biggest zone to really get a jump on anybody. But 0.9, 0.8, a little bit closer. So he's gonna have to work at this. Yes, front left does have a lot of graining. Hadjar. But on Russell's front right, there's a paint. There's something on the tire. That's 18 laps in, and no huge change in the leaders other than the early jump Gasly over Norris. Botas, we need to cool the car and box this lap. Interesting. So it's overheating that's of the actual car itself, causing them to pit. And they got the coolers on. They have it up on jacks. This is an extended pitch stop. No, they're putting it into the garage. Are they cooked? Botas might be cooked. Russell back on the radio. How much pace do you have in clear air? Okay, so Russell thinks if he's in clear air, he can be another second a lap quicker, but I mean, he is falling behind. And Hadjar knows he just needs to maintain the position. It's super hard to pass. He's going to try to play this out for the duration of his stint, right? If he can avoid going on early and keep track position with the grain front left, I mean, he's going to do that. But we'll see. See how it all plays out here. And yeah, Hadjar is slow. Russell's half a second now, so maybe on board with Norris at the moment, though, who is also a half second back on Gasly. So the when Hadjar's saying that engine braking is a joke. Something wrong. First gear is not usable. We can't get down to first gear and the engine braking isn't working. That's really slowing him down. Russell, though, on Hadjar, I think he's going to have to. He doesn't. He can't. 0.3 seconds and he's just stuck there. Hadjar complaining, having a hell of a time here, and Russell not enough in the car on this track. And if Hadjar can maintain this position with those problems, good on him, honestly. People say that Verstappen just complains all the time. No, we got Hadjar here doing the same thing, demanding more from his team. Well, coming around the hairpin again. Let's see what he can do around it. Yeah, Russell having to over slow not to crash into him as he gets back on the radio complaining. Having a hell of a time. Okay, down the straights. Maybe Russell's just trying to keep on him and get him to make a mistake. Hadjar's on the radio again complaining. So his head's not cleared. That's what I would be trying to do anyways, is just play the mental game on him. It's gotta go on him eventually. Antonelli back with 5.5-second lead over Hamilton, though. Leclerc's 6 seconds back on that, so they're just sitting perfectly in clean air and extending their stint out as much as they can. And they're saying something's going to explode. The engine is not healthy. They're working on a fix, so they're going to have to detune the engine on the fly, it seems. But Bottas out for overheating and perhaps Hadjar out for overheating. That would be a double DNF for the Red Bull team. Roughly, ooh, there's a bit of dust up there in the Nouvelle. Russell taking a peek. No space. Not enough there. Giving us something to look at anyways here, Russell and Hadjar. Yeah, just staying that point 0.5, point 0.6, and cannot get much closer. So the smaller cars, the more nimble cars, apparently not helping the raciness on this track, one way or the other. Going down the order, not a whole lot else of note. Norris a second back on Gasly. He was within a half. And he might have to just play the strategy long game as well and hope that his car kind of has the longer term pace into it. Better hit strategy, quicker hits, that will be what makes the difference for these top teams. Because if Russell can't pass Hadjar in this condition, and Hadjar's engineer saying there is no fix for his engine issues. 23 of 78 laps. This is not necessarily something you can limp home. Surprisingly, if anything, Russell not on the radio complaint. At least they're not broadcasting it. I imagine. I mean, Russell usually is whining about something. I'm surprised there has been no radio chatter from him about just being pissed off at the situation right now. Oh, a bunch of track limits on lap 20 for Bortoleto, Stroll, Lindblad, and Colapinto. 3 of them at turn 17, and 1 at turn 15 there for Colapinto. I would have liked to see what happened there, but they don't care about those back markers. Apparently, we only want to see Russell and Hadjar. Yeah, 0.6 seconds back and can't do a damn thing about it. Ooh, Leclerc goes off at the Nouvelle. He did okay with it though, mind you. He didn't lock up the tires and he avoided the curbs, so he went through it the best way possible, if you will. But he's got a 20-second gap to Hadjar behind him right now. He's 6 seconds behind Hamilton, who is 8.5 behind Antonelli. And I think it's quite clear that you can't overtake. Ferrari's got to be mostly happy with the 2-3 here. But I mean, this God Kimi Antonelli. I would have loved to see Verstappen in this mix. He for sure would have taken a lunge at something if given the opportunity. Norris back within 0.6 of Gasly. But for whatever reason, all the focus is on Russell this year. And that's what I'm saying with the British bias. They picked George Russell this year, and that's what we're getting. Hey, Dan, what's going on? How you doing, bud? Dan's one of our regulars here at the channel. Here to watch some Monaco. Yeah, I know Antonelli's insane. I've just been glazing him the whole time. I'm trying not to get into that excitement over young boys situation that a lot of content creators get themselves into. But Russell taking a peek at the Nouvelle. There's nothing. He can't do it. He's all over the place trying to find the spot. And Hadjar closes the door, and there's another lap done. Hamilton 10 seconds back on Antonelli. Like, this isn't Ferrari strategy saving tires or whatever at this point. This is a 10-second gap. If it was 5 seconds, it would be okay. We're looking at some strategy. But Leclerc, even with that mistake, is now 4 seconds back on Hamilton, which tells me that Hamilton's pace is dropping off here. Must be the tires at this point. Taking a look at Charles. I think they're just impressed with how close he's riding this right now. Putting in some effort here now onto Hamilton. So Leclerc maybe getting a sniff of Hamilton, knowing that he's starting to slow down. So does he push late in the stint? Mm. Still, it's so hard. It's so hard at this point. And the pit strategy of Ferrari, they have the time to double pit. They can do it. 26-second gap back on Hadger. So they essentially have a pit stop free at this point. Have you heard Juve in talks with Vicario? They're in talks with a lot of guys. Yeah, I think the price on Vicario was the issue. I don't know if Vicario is even a massive upgrade over Di Gregorio, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see. I think Allison is still the primary in terms of the goalkeeping position, which I am for. Also because you have the Staffarda kid coming up through the ranks. So you put in an Allison for a year or two, teach the new kid, and then you let the new kid take over. That is what I would be aiming for. Russell, 0.4 now. Owen Hadger goes through the chicane, keeps position. Yeah, Russell's not going to be happy about that either. We have to hear a radio call from Russell at this point. Unless they're oh, here it is. Yeah, of course. He's saying he needs to give the position up. He says that every time he gets passed or something like that happens as well, right? So he almost cries wolf. I am just interested to see how race control will look at this, because did he gain an advantage by leaving the track? Yeah, I don't know, because he's been within half second of this car for how many laps now and has not been able to take advantage. So bit of a subjective. Hamilton getting the box, so he is in the pits. Leclerc got it within 3 seconds, now in that clean air. So they didn't double up. Hamilton on the hards now. But Leclerc is 15 seconds behind Antonelli in first. Like, what is this kid doing? Kimi Antonelli, 19-year-old stud, just making everyone look silly right now. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna call Hadger on that. Obviously, he gets track limits. Let's see. Is there anything down here? Nothing yet from race control. But I mean, that's track limits at the very least, right? You can get 3 of those before you get your penalty. So So Hamilton does come out in third with a 13-second gap still to Hadjar after that pit stop. So Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, all in free pit stop territory. Well, Hamilton took his. How many laps does Leclerc go though on these mediums? He is now in pure clean air. He was mostly running clear air, 5 seconds. Behrman box to retire the car. So a Haas now retiring. We have a Haas, a Cadillac, and a Red Bull all out of the race. Not a super hot day. 24 degrees. Yeah, sorry, Dan, go back. Chiesa, you think will leave Liverpool? Yeah, he's talking a lot on social media. That's usually a sign. This is one of the reasons I never really liked him. I did like him, but then I didn't. Yeah, he talked too much. And then you're saying Hamilton has got a good chance to finish podium. Yeah, no. I mean, after the pits, Leclerc might snatch the second, but at this point, barring any sort of drama, it's going to be Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton with maybe a Hamilton Leclerc swap. I can't see that changing at all. And Leclerc, mind you, Hamilton's on hards. So Leclerc is faster on old mediums than Hamilton is on the new hards. Now, maybe Hamilton hasn't warmed up those hards quite yet. No, hasn't started the push. There's no real need to force the matter, right? Bring them in nicely. Italy manager now. Conte maybe. Mancini. I think it would be between Mancini and Conte. Both as a returning coach. Ah, man. I like Conte more as a club coach, but the Italian team needs it too. Norris, I got a lot of misfiring the slap or just noise. Engineer is checking. And Norris sitting within that half second. Russell getting the box now, but Russell sitting in Gasly's wake. Probably not great for his engine either. Yeah, Conte, yeah, and then he left, got Italy to the World Cup in 2014. They need a kick in the ass coach like Conte, but a lot of teams need a Conte. It looks like Spalletti staying with Juve. That would have been my thing, though. If Spalletti had left, that for sure, you bring in Conte at that point. Because all these younger coaches are snatching up jobs everywhere else. So even though Leclerc has been faster than Hamilton, Leclerc is still losing time to Antonelli. 18 seconds. Wild, man. Absolutely wild. A Pinto kissing the wall. Couple of kisses here today. Oh yeah, I don't think anybody expected Como to get Champions League football, but they dumped a shit ton of money into that team. And the league was shit. Like Milan and Juve shit in the bed. I mean, Roma even getting Champions League. If there was a season Como was going to do it, it was this season. Let's be honest. The league is at a very low quality currently. Similar to Leicester winning the Premier League, right? It was just the stars aligned just perfectly, and then what? A couple years later, they're relegated, right? So we'll see. Speeding in the pit lane. Who was that for? Hamilton. 5-second time penalty. Speeding in the pit lane. Hamilton, you dummy. He might be okay with those 5 seconds with the amount of gap he has, but man. I mean that gives second place to Leclerc. Hamilton should still finish up third. Man, Hamilton. Norris. No no power, no battery. I'm pretty sure like Antonelli hasn't had a ton of these issues with the engines. McLaren has, Russell has. What's Antonelli doing differently? You know? Or is it just being in the clean air all the time and it's just good. Just good. They need the cooling and man, 20 seconds ahead, guys. My lord. And they're both on old tires, him and Leclerc. This is nuts, man. Lando now going straight through the chicane. Man. So Piastri's still on those mediums as well. He hasn't pitted. So Hamilton's in a decent spot, even with the penalty. Edgar's still yelling at his engineer. My lord. Oh yeah, Antonelli's already like the youngest driver, everything at this point. He just needs to snatch that world championship. And here's the thing, Monaco is the hardest track out there. Okay, Leclerc in the pits. Finally. 36 laps. Cards are going on. 3.3 seconds. A little slow. Hamilton overtaking back into second. Leclerc now out of the pits. Let's see what that gap is. 9.6. 10. About 10. Yeah. So Leclerc now he's on the better tire strategy. He just needs to back up into Hamilton within 5 seconds at the final lap, and he takes the second place. Hamilton will kick himself in the ass for that one. The pit entry, as you're coming around that final turn, it's just like you come around that double right, and you just make another right. Like you're not even carrying that much speed, but at the same time, it is so short and it happens so quickly that you do kind of have to be right on it, and it is a slow pit lane. Somebody like Hamilton should not have made that mistake. Which World Cup matches am I going to? As of now, nothing. I almost bought the Canada one, Canada Bosnia. Here's the thing, man. The cheapest ticket today, I have seen the cheapest ticket it has ever been. $1,055 for a partially obstructed view in the nosebleeds. That's what we're talking about here. So it's not like, oh, it's a $300-$400 ticket. It's expensive. Blah. No, like we're talking about the absolute worst seat in the stadium is over $1,000. And because my parents are relatively close and I can take the transit down, I don't have to pay for room or board. People that are traveling in, dude, thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, you can go to the Caribbean or, like, Mykonos, or you can go to these beautiful destinations and have the time of your life for the cost of going to one game in a shitty stadium. Because let's be honest, the Toronto stadium is shit. It was never designed for a match of this magnitude. It was meant for a burgeoning MLS fucking 30 years ago. Burgeoning as in, like, wet behind the ears. It's no, man, it's insane. The prices for this World Cup, absolutely ludicrous. Now, I am still gonna try to get that one ticket, but as of now, I'm gonna be in Toronto from the 11th to the 15th. Try to catch the home opener, spend a couple days downtown to get the vibe. See, and see where that goes. 5-second time penalty to George Russell. And he is also speeding in the pit lane. Well, that, another punch in the dick for Russell. Brazil to win the World Cup? I don't think Brazil has gotten their shit quite put together yet. They are not the Brazil of years past. I wouldn't give it to them. You would think like a France or Spain, but already there's reports of some of these teams out in training, especially like a Norway team, just baking in the were they in Atlanta? Somewhere in the south anyways, in the States, and just baking. It's hot and humid. So we'll see if those soft ass Europeans can handle the heat. So maybe it is like an Argentina South American team that just like steps up and can just go the distance, right? Argentina with a repeat. I don't know if that'll happen. There's some good teams out there though. We're gonna bring the boys together on Wednesday, actually. Me, Dash, and Dave. We're gonna put a show together before I leave to Toronto and do a bit of a preview show. But yeah, you hear like Israel's not allowed to even stay in the States. Uh well, Morocco, man. Just the visa situation, right? It's such a mess. And the political tensions around this World Cup, I mean, not in Mexico or Canada. There's nothing nothing there. We all know it's with the US. And what the current administration has done in terms of access to this World Cup for both players and fans, or staff, anybody. Montella, Turkey, Fabio kind of Ancelotti's Brazil, Montella, Turkey, and where's Cannavaro? All right. Some of these cars now, I think, are a couple of laps back. They're dropping within 10 seconds to Hamilton again now. So he took his time to get those tires cooked up, and now he's starting to close the gap. He just needs that 5 seconds now with Hamilton's Hamilton's 5 second penalty. Russell, though, is half a second back on Norris, who's half a second back on Gasly now. Hadjar, we did miss that. Hadjar finally got out of the way there when he went into the pits. So he is probably out of this discussion altogether with his car problems. Tough day for Red Bull. Why would you expel Iran from the tournament and put in Italy? Like, Italy sucks. They didn't deserve it. Iran punched their ticket. Last time I checked, and not to get political, but Iran was the country that got invaded. And the last time a country invaded another country of that magnitude, Russia, they got banned. So, again, I'm not trying to pick sides or anything here, but facts are on the table, right? Cannavaro with Uzbekistan, eh? Canada just played a friendly against them, 1-2-0. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. Well, there you go. Olapinto is noted for speeding in the pit lane. Okay, then. Man, Russell is all over Norse. I hope those two little whiny English fuckers just fuck each other up so I can listen to them cry after the race and all week. Yeah, and Canada tied Ireland 1-1. Yeah, Ireland's a bit more on their level, I think. Alonzo Davies is going to miss the home opener as well. I don't know when he'll be healthy. Guy never stays healthy. And oh, who else? We lost another forward. A Spanish named Canadian. Who got injured in South American Champions League. To Landon, we want to do the holding strategy on Russell. Let's just keep it on him. Russell's on newer hards. Norris is still on those mediums. 41 laps on those mediums. So I'm not quite sure the strategy there. Gasly, Piastri, they're all on 42. So 4th, 5th, and 6th. All on those old mediums. As well as 9th to 12th. Norris is backing me up. But yeah, we know. Of course, it's Monaco. Of course, that's what he's doing. And there's Russell complaining on the radio. That's the name of the game, man. Leclerc isn't making huge progress on Hamilton, though. Still sitting 10 seconds back. Is there going to be a late push? Norris is pulled back to normal pace. Just hold the gap. The Gasly. Man, Russell is all over Norris as well. Oh, he is gonna be crying after this race. Colapinto does pick up the 5-second penalty. It is confirmed. That's 3 speeding in the pit lane so far. Colapinto, Russell, and Hamilton. So all 3 ranges of experience there, from young guy to moderate experience to old 40-year-old motherfucker. Russell instant crossing the line at pit exit. Noted. He fucked up going into the pits and he fucked up coming out of the pits. Oh, Georgie boy. You are having a bad day. And Hadjar is actually only a couple seconds back onto Russell now. So Hadjar, if it finishes as is, will actually finish in 7th ahead of Russell. It would drop to 8th in that case. Pending further penalties, perhaps. And Russell does finally take Norris coming down the tunnel. And Lando Norris is retiring. No, I didn't see that on the radio. Was the commentator saying he's retiring? He just let Hadger back as well. He might just be. Yeah, he's down to the final turns here. Norris retiring. Another Mercedes powered car retiring. And I booted up the 2026 DLC for F125 and I started a new career. And the Mercedes engine had 97%. It was 97 speed, 97 durability. And Ferrari was like 93, 93. It's like, I'm sorry, the Ferrari engines have not fucking broken at all this year. It's been nothing but Merc. How's the reliability on the Mercs higher than the Ferraris? That's big F you. They need to change that. But Norris is out. So we now have a McLaren, a Haas, a Cadillac, and a Red Bull out of the race. And yeah, any retirements from a Ferrari engine? Let's look at their customers. Cadillac. In terms of Ferraris, engines in a Ferrari car, no issues. Albon being told to swap with his teammate of Sainz. Sainz must have some pace. But Sainz is in the pits now. Interesting enough. Yeah, no, Ferrari has been the same since the Schumacher days. Of course, of course. But they've been like a solid second. It's not like they dropped off. They're not like a Williams, right? They didn't just drop off to the back. They've just been like dangling the carrot in front of us for 20 years. And even like look at McLaren. McLaren was the back of the pack there a few years ago as well, right? So at least Ferrari has stayed in the mix at the top of the leaderboards. Not winning, but being there, being close. But yeah, just not the champion. And it's starting to come to a head. Like all these jokes and memes and shit that were slung towards Ferrari, their strategy, all their stupid decisions. Now that McLaren is the champion somehow, I fucking still upset with how that all played out. Verstappen on merit should have had it. But anyways, when they screw up, and it's still not Ferrari level, but when McLaren screws up, it's starting to look a lot like Ferrari a couple years ago, like under Binotto especially, you know? But because it's Ferrari, they get shot on harder. It's like, no, McLaren and their stupid papaya rules have fucked up so much shit. But again, because it's a British driver and a British team, we're going to glaze them and not make... Oh, come on, guys. Come on. No. No. McLaren deserves the same level of shit flung at them that Ferrari has over all these years. You got to keep it fair, boys. Got to keep it fair. Leclerc 7.5 back from Hamilton, so he's just chipping away. There's 20 laps left. Yeah, I think Leclerc is gonna have enough. He does have the newer tires. Okay, so Albon now he's leading this train. He hasn't looked great here. It looked like he had a moment not too long ago. Got Lindblad in behind, Hulkenberg and Ocon, Colapinto. Actually, Alonso Stroll. They're all kind of backed up into that. Nobody here fighting for points, but just in terms of getting up in track position, this is hell of a train here with the Albon backing everything up. But Albon in 10th. So Albon saying we're being too smart with this shit, guys. Okay, so basically what's happening right now is Albon has been told to slow up the train behind him and give a nice gap for Sainz, who's sitting in 9th, which would be a double point finish for Williams today. That would not be bad, picking up 3 points with, the season they've had. So, I understand the strategy, but Albon is not happy just not being racy, you know? Being anti-racy. And Lindblad is gonna take Albon. And now Albon must be fucking furious after this. And that was just before turn 1 in that start-finish straight, so Jesus, and Albon's on the soft, so Albon's gonna have to win this back on merit after the team strategy told him to hold back the pack. Negative tactics, I am not a fan of that at all, and it does bite them in the ass. That being said, Sainz has a bit of clean air. Goes to the chicane, or goes through the chicane. Interesting call there, and that was sorry, thought it was at the start finish, that was at the Nouvelle. Yeah, I think maybe Albon gave the position knowing that he would have been called back on it. But how was that different with, Russell and Hadjar earlier? So Antonelli being told okay, so they're just discussing. Antonelli was firing back. They're talking about taking another pit stop because of their gap. And he's like, "No, no, no, we don't need to stop." And engineer is like, "No, no, under a safety car. We have tons of opportunity in that case." Which you do. You have to be looking at this. You have 17 laps left. You got a 22-second lead. If it was under a yellow or a safety car, put on some softs, and you can quite comfortably push that home. Like safely too, in terms of strategy, right? Because if that was the case, Hamilton Leclerc will not pit because they need to close in that gap, and they would be pushing on hard tires. It would make it interesting, but yeah, I don't know if it would be necessary to do so. Leclerc, though, 4.8 seconds back on Hamilton, so he is well within now of securing second place. Gasly now noted for speeding in the pit lane. So it's happening again. Thank you, everyone who has joined us today. If you can, I know a lot of you are coming in from X, so please do give me a follow on the X account there. But do find us on YouTube, or Twitch, Instagram, Kick, whatever, at the Dive Sports or at the Dive YT. Everything's down in the bio, the description. It's all linked up depending on your platform. So if you could give it the click, keep the algorithm pushing on as we'll push on here into the final laps of the Monaco Grand Prix. It has been a procession for the most part, but it has brought a lot of good talking points and just a lot of good conversation to have afterwards. It's not a complete bore show. Bertoletto just letting everyone past him right now. He's sitting in 18th, which is last at the moment. I guess he just doesn't have the pace? Or was that Hulkenberg letting the back markers through? So Leclerc's job now is You wanna stay about 5 seconds or so back, get clean air, not to overheat, cook your tires, any of that, but he does have to maintain under 5 seconds to secure the 2nd position. So, I imagine for the Ferraris, this is kinda just what we get. There is no need for Leclerc, push for an overtake at all here. We got 15 laps. Currently then, you have Russell, who is 47 seconds behind Leclerc with a 5-second penalty. So, I mean, just the spread, the absolute spread on the track today is insane. So a bit of strategy throughout the field in terms of slowing people down. At least in years past, the pack kept fairly close, and it was dictated. Like the year that Leclerc won, yeah, he just dictated the pace. Even last year with the Norris, just dictated the pace, and everyone kind of kept up with that. But you have all these little mini races. Stroll track limits under investigation. Oh man. But Aston Martins are sitting 15th and 16th at the moment. That's not the worst for them, is it? The fact that they haven't retired either, I think is a bit of a win in itself. Albon on those softs still sitting behind Lindblad after that mistake. 5-second time penalty for Lance Stroll, who is 5.5 seconds ahead of Perez. So, oh, blue flag given into turn one, and it's a oh, the Williams spreading spots as well. That got a little sketchy there with the Audi coming in hot of Hulkenberg. That sign's coming out of the pits there, so he basically got a free pit stop on it. And that's what Williams was trying to do too, was slow up to get a free pit stop out of it. But Albon, messed it up. Yeah, so we're looking at George Russell. It's an involved card 6-3 note crossing the line at pit exit. It's close. It is close. His front left tire maybe millimeters outside of the white line on pit exit for George Russell. 5-second time penalty to Oscar Piastri. Speeding in the pit lane. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. So currently the second, fourth, sixth, seventh, 14th, and 16th positions have 5-second penalties. What is going on? Antonelli saying there's something weird with the engine up the hill. He has a 26-second lead up on Hamilton at the moment. Leclerc 2.8 seconds, but Kimi Antonelli just putting the fastest lap of 1:14.990. Now, what would be interesting here is would Ferrari tell Hamilton Leclerc to swap positions, knowing that Leclerc has the pace, also has not the time penalty, and if Antonelli truly has an issue, Kimi that looked like a small grade up the hill, don't worry about it. Okay, so maybe not an issue then. But if Antonelli were to have an issue, if I was that strategy at Ferrari, I would be like, "Listen, Hamilton, you got your penalty. Let Leclerc through. Let him challenge for it." He is on the fresher tires. Or Hamilton would just have to start pushing himself. I don't know, but you are 20 seconds back from that leader. And Antonelli's engineer is like, "Okay, fastest lap. We don't need them." Which is what I love. Remember when Verstappen was doing that? When he was like 40 seconds ahead? And then he came into the pits to get new tires just to get a fastest. That's what the extra point counted. But um, it's that mentality that you're so far ahead in the lead that you don't care. You want to be the fastest, and you are the fastest. Most intense track on Gran Turismo, even with no damage. Good times. That's for P. Morton. It doesn't have to be on Gran Turismo, though, does it? It literally does not matter which game you were playing this track on. Because I just did it in F2 on Wednesday, and I did nothing but lose end plates the whole race. So yes, I am quite aware with how hard this is. When you hook it up. I mean, it is these kinds of tracks are rewarding when you figure them out, but yes, they are. It's a no joke track. Let's be honest. Doesn't matter who you are, especially when you're in fairly large, heavy, wide F1 cars. I don't care that they're smaller. They're still bigger than they have been in the past. Yeah, there's just no space. They have the best drivers in the world taking chunks out of their car. It's a tough one. We are on the last 20 laps, though. How are we coming along? It's 10:18. Yeah, right on schedule, I suppose. Leclerc sitting 2.5, 3 seconds off Hamilton. I don't know why he's running that close, to be honest. The inside of Leclerc's front wheels, though, they put the onboard. They are fairly chewed up. Ooh, and Leclerc sparking the car. That was close, my Lord Jesus, Charles. You don't need to do that. Oh, fuck. But that being said, and I just did my second 4 hours Nürburgring race with teammates. I didn't do all 4 hours myself, but we've been doing the 24.4 kilometer Nürburgring in GT4 multi-class. So GT4 is right in the middle of the speed, which means nothing but traffic the whole time. That is perhaps harder. They're harder for different reasons, Monaco and Nürburgring. One's a very short track. No. Nürburgring is, they call it green hell for a reason, right? Yellow flag. What is this for? Ooh, Lance Stroll in the barriers. He was running 16th. Safety car. The safety car is out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what this brings. Alonso getting ready into the pits. Oh, what a there isn't a good spot to crash out on this in the best of times. Uh but oh, that's a shitty spot. Only 12 seconds left lost under the safety car. So this is not bad time. Hamilton, box. Okay. I mean, they have the gap, they have the strategy. I imagine Leclerc will get it as well. This is it turn 1 where he went into? No, it's the final turn. Final turn there. Piastri's in, Hulkenberg's in. And Hamilton's taking his 5-second penalty as well. So that clears that off. They did double stack. There is Leclerc. Okay, softs on both Ferraris. Antonelli stays out. And Leclerc asking why they didn't stay out. Hmm. Interesting. That is a discussion point for Ferrari. Leclerc doesn't command. That's the one thing with Leclerc. He's a great driver, one of the best, but he does lack that command with the team, and sometimes doesn't fight the decision when he would prefer something else. So I don't know how that's gonna play out under the safety car and how long the safety car will be out. But Antonelli does come into the pits now to get some softs. 4.5-second stop. That is kind of slow. Russell comes in as well. That's slow. 5.5 seconds, which makes sense. It's a little slower on a double stack, but not a great pit. Not horrible, but not great by Mercedes there. They have some room for error, mind you, with Antonelli. So Hadjar does not pit. Okay, showing Lance Stroll again. He's oh man, that was just not great. He was coming into the final turn, just went wide, hit the barrier, which just lost his traction, bounced him a little bit, and then he didn't get the rotation, went straight into the wall. It is slightly uphill. It's not a great traction zone. Okay, so we're stacking up against the safety car here. So what is interesting though is that there's a bunch of lap cars between Antonelli and the Ferraris now. So yes, Ferrari will be able to close up onto Antonelli, but not as close as they want to. And the way that kid has been driving, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, that's gonna be the biggest thing. There's all those back markers getting in the way of everyone. Yeah, Leclerc's not happy with the call. Not happy at all with that. He takes this one especially personally as well, right? His home race. He really wanted to win this one. Got second last year. And now losing out to his teammate 2 weeks in a row. Like Hamilton's starting to show up. That's what the discussion is at Ferrari now. As now they are getting into having two legitimate number one drivers, just like McLaren did last year. Just like you can argue Mercedes does this year, but at the moment, I'm pretty sure we know who the number one is. About to hit it at 5 straight. Well, we'll also see now. Does Leclerc and Hamilton get racy? Huge points, second and third for the team, obviously. They're not going to want to mess with that. Russell didn't serve his penalty in the pits. Interesting. And that was all based on the track position, I'm sure. That must have been a conscious call by the strategist. Very, very interesting. As it stands, though, Ferrari will close up a gap. No, they lose a gap of 2 points. 35, 33. Yeah. With Well, let's see. Let's see what happens with Russell at the moment before we start counting the points. We still have 15 laps with the safety car here. Safety car is letting the back markers through now. So it does appear that we are getting rid. Yes, because of the extended safety car, they are able to get rid of the back markers. So Ferrari does actually have a chance here because they will be backed up onto Antonelli. More to follow. As it stands now as well, Charles and Lewis would be tied on points. Only 8 points back on George Russell. Oh my. Again, let's see what happens with Russell. He doesn't serve his penalty. Now, I don't know. I didn't think by the rules you had to necessarily serve. I've never seen this. Not serving the penalty while going into the pits. Typically, it's just an automatic thing that you do. But track position being huge on this track, especially, we will have to see how the marshals, if they say that's legal or not. So another lap around with the safety car. So we're waiting for the lap cars to get back into the queue. That's what it is at this moment. I think the track itself is clear. Russell Mercedes do not know if they served their penalty or not. How do you not know? And once again, I was making fun of the whole Ferrari, the memes that they get, and how McLaren has not been hit as hard. But or Mercedes needs to be shat on too. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know if you served a penalty. The safety car is ending though. Yeah, Hamilton. Those who served their penalty have been cleared on the board. Russell, Gasly, and Colapinto still have their penalties posted up. Gasly didn't go into the pits, nor Colapinto. The Alpines did not pit. That makes sense. Okay, we're about to start. Hamilton's right on him. Leclerc's giving a bit of space. Now he's really going in slow here. Probably going to start this off on the start finish straights. Coming around the final turn now. He has a little wiggle. And we're racing. Yellow flag, track hazard. I don't know what happened there. No! Leclerc's in the fucking wall. What the fuck? On a restart, dude. Charles, what are you fucking doing? Oh my lord. And we're back under safety car. Charles, my lord, you were sitting in third place easy today. Oh my god, I'm upset. Ferrari fans are upset. Monaco's upset. I could only imagine. Oh, I could only imagine, Charles. Oh my fuck. Looking back at it, this is ridiculous. This is the same spot as Stroll. It's the exact same spot. Goes over the marbles and straight into the wall. They just fucking fixed that wall. Oh my god. Oh my lord. He's blaming the brakes. Just locks up at slow speed. Oh my lord. That's brutal, guys. That is absolutely brutal. That pisses me off. And he's craned. Oh, this extended race. There's 11 laps. I'm gonna take a quick pee break and I will be right back. So much disappointment here. So much. And that drops Leclerc now 15 points off Lewis. And that's big for the overall standings. This is less than ideal. This is going to be a sprint, though. Like, yeah, there's a few laps put on these softs, but all under a safety car. Russell does have to serve those 5 seconds still. But so does Gasly behind him. It's going to be up to Piastri to see if he can keep within 5 seconds of both Russell and Gasly. Red flag. There's a red flag. Oh, hold on. What? Excuse me? What's going on? Okay, well, this is are they cooking? Are they cooking this race to make it more interesting now? there's a lot of talking points already, but they're gonna have to come into the pits. We are on lap 68 of 78. We're going to have to demand some answers here. Is like the barrier just that messed up? Wow. Well, we will stand by for more. Gasly, does he pick up a second? Or was that his first? Yeah, I think he's on 10 seconds total now, Gasly. So Piastri for sure will jump past on the standings on Gasly at 10 second. Will he get Russell at the 5 second? This is getting messy here today. This is really messy. Well, I will use this opportunity then, and if you guys could use this opportunity to give a like, a subscribe, a follow, a share, whichever platform you are on. We are on YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, and Kick at the moment. We have horizontal and vertical streams, so whichever one you prefer. All the links are in the description or the bio, so please give it a look, give it a follow. And yeah, keep the algorithm pumping. Yeah, so the drivers are out of their cars. I am going to attempt to find anything. Huh. Nothing on the socials as of yet. Oh, I see Kim Kardashian was at the race. Is that why somebody was asking me before? Oh, I don't know. Really do not care. Yeah. Nothing though. That's what I'm getting about F1 at the moment is Kim Kardashian. Yeah, I don't know what Lewis Hamilton, the things he wears, ridiculous. I'm not getting any actual real F1 news. I'm getting Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton dressing up as a woman. Nothing, guys. Okay. Well, we'll hang out until then. They are out on track where both incidents happened. They have Okay, so they are cleaning the track. So they are now determining that because of the amount of debris on the track that took out Stroll and now Leclerc, that now it's an appropriate time to clean it. Uh, yeah, just my other Ferrari fan buddy bitching on messages. Oh boy. So I would only assume then that that is their main issue, is that the track was deemed to be unsafe. The amount of marbles in that one specific area, that final turn into the straight. But it's situations like this that piss me off in that, like, the track is the issue and you're taking cars out. Remember when Carlos Sainz sucked up uh the sewer cover in Vegas the first year? Or was it Miami? I think it was Vegas. Regardless, the track was not prepared. It was the track's faults, and then they give him because they had to replace components, they give him a grid penalty because the track failed the car, not the other way around. It comes to this discussion where when does the onus actually go on to race control, the FIA, uh, the track operators and owners? All these regulating bodies that make these things happen, and it's the teams and the drivers that not well, deal with it kind of idea. It needs to be more owns. It's just like in professional sports when the referee screws up or when, I don't know, the football pitch or the ice in hockey is bad or whatever, and somebody injures themselves. It's like, "Oh, well, that's just how she is." Instead of like, "Hey, maybe they should do their job and make sure that the facilities are in proper working order." So, F1, not a good look at the end of the day. Now that Monaco is red flagged or a bit of debris on track. Or they're actually looking at the surface. So this is actually a repaved section of the road, and it actually doesn't I don't think it's the marbles themselves. There's actually a degradation in the road itself. Interesting. So now we just have to wait for race control to determine if it is safe to continue the race. Well then, oh boy, is breaking up. Now this also goes to the discussion of Monaco and if it even should be a racetrack. And I know there's people on both sides of this conversation, and nobody can deny the historical importance of this venue. But it is also, in terms of what racetracks are, it is the worst racetrack of uh, of multiple series, not even just F1. And I know this isn't the only street track out there, but Monaco is an old ass city. These are old ass roads. You're right on the edge of the ocean. Place is tiny. And although Monaco is now paying more to host the race than they have traditionally, they still are paying way less. So in terms of a financial, I mean look at the Arab countries. They're paying out of their teeth to host an F1 race, and these guys are basically they were getting a free ride for the longest time. So expect a lot of conversation after this. Now, after the final turn into the start finish straight is completely disintegrating and cost two drivers of on the complete opposite end of the spectrum as well in terms of driver skill. It's Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll. So, like, do you blame the driver? Obviously, to some point, I guess you do. But when was the last time we had a full red card or red flag? And for something like this, especially as well. I mean, red flags, yeah, you get when cars explode all over the track and there's a massive cleanup. Because the track is failing? My lord. Nothing new. Still nothing new. Oh boy, what's this? Oh boy, Martin Brundle. Okay. I don't know if I can maybe I'll just show this. Sure, why not? Let's have some fun. Gotta wait a little bit anyways. Martin Brundle here.
And say if we've got don't push me, mate. I'm nearly famous. That's all right.
So it's very quiet because it's just somebody filming on his TV. But I guess somebody had made contact with Martin Brundle and he said, "Don't push me, mate. I'm very famous." And you're a massive douchebag too, apparently. Yeah, there's him blaming the brakes, but there's gonna be more to it as well. No, and back showing where he lives. I guess he lives in that apartment. Very cool. But yeah, I guess that's it. That's it. Nobody's really commenting on this, surprisingly. Citrus, which is kind of they like to make light of the situation. They're a legit account, but they like to have fun. Um, yeah, not a whole lot. So we continue to hang out here and hope for a race start. Resumption order is given. Okay. Sucks not to see number 16 there, third in line, but shit. 10-minute restart procedure. So the drivers are getting seated back up. Or are we? It's the lack of transparency too with what's actually going on. People stop. It's their Sunday afternoon. They stop to watch a race, and they got to know what's going on here, right? So this turns to a sprint when we do resume. You got 10 laps, 11, I guess. You got 11 laps. Gotta count the one you're on. So when you're on red car, or keep on screwing up the two sports, when you're on a red flag, you can swap tires. Now, I can't tell you exactly which team has in terms of fresh tires, but a lot of those guys did put somewhere on the softs that they had cruising. Not a lot of wear, but enough. Something that would be measurable. Is that still the best choice of tire? Now, all those guys that were on hards, of course, will, or just old tires in general, they're gonna change things up. Gonna bring up the table again here. So Hamilton obviously is gonna push on to Antonelli. Hadjar, I don't know how much he has into it, how much push he has, but Russell 5-second, Gasly 10-second penalty. Then you have Piastri. That right there, fourth, fifth, sixth is going to be interesting. The fact that Leclerc and Verstappen, as well as Norris, you have three massive names, just not even in the conversation. George Russell with a drive-through penalty is going to destroy his race. So George Russell is effectively out of the race. He has just been handed a drive-through penalty. So now Mercedes losing a driver out of contention. All the big teams have lost a driver, as well as some of the minor teams. And no, I mean Russell is still in the race, but with 10 laps, 11 laps left in Monaco, and you have a drive-through penalty, you are screwed. And Kimi Antonelli, as a result, will stretch that lead by 25 points if Hamilton doesn't do anything about it. But still, 18 points, whatever it is, another massive points gap on the day is about to happen. So nobody really. So let's look here. How many teams losing a guy? Ferrari, Aston Martin, McLaren, Haas, Cadillac, Red Bull, and effectively Mercedes. And 7 out of the 11 teams have are operating at essentially 50%. They're showing the track again. It's clear that there's an issue there, but it is cleaned up. And the official call on that is failing to serve time penalty correctly. The racing may not be the greatest here today, but the drama is certainly there. Are they getting the cars ready here? Williams is out in the pit. Yeah, we see Hamilton's car out there. Nothing yet, though. Still a red flag. Hatchar's under investigation. Oh my lord. Hatchar, Russell, Gasly. Third, fourth, and fifth. Well, Russell again, you know. Now Russell still has a 5-second penalty. He also has a drive-through penalty. Oh, even though he gets a drive-through, he still comes out with a penalty. Like he's having a bad day. Oh my lord, so many bad days today. Kimmy's just chilling, having looks like a juice box thing. He's sucking something back. Those energy packets. What do you dye your beard green? Obviously, it's a McLaren fan. Like that looks appetizing. We're in a bright orange shirt and you've dyed your beard lime green. Like you're a tie-dye shirt, essentially, is what you've made yourself. Yeah, we're just trashing the fans now. That's the point of the race we're at, or the point of the not race that we're at. Fans baking the heat. Well, the mechanics are hanging out by the car. They're on standby. Okay. So Hadjar's a safety car infringement. He really backed up on Russell and dropped back more than 10 car lengths from the safety car train, uh, from the car ahead, anyways. So yeah, you have to stay within 10 car lengths. Now, if you're in first, that's 10 car lengths from the safety car, and then subsequently from there, the car in front of you. So we'll see if that one sticks. They have lots of time to think about it clearly, because we still have no official race start. Yeah, drivers are still chilling out, man. Even the commentators, they're just going back on the old stuff. They're back at Verstappen's stalled start. They're showing all the retirements, is what it is. Do now Norris. Yep, everyone dropping out. Will there be any more with 11 laps left to go and essentially what is a Monaco sprint? Just showed Stroll going over that spot and losing it. And then Leclerc as well now. Okay, and they did confirm that because we did think it was marbles in that section, but that was actual pieces of road, of asphalt breaking up, which obviously is a little more slippery than a rubber marble and sharper and whatnot. So yeah, Hamilton is under investigation for safety car infringement now. What's happening? Okay, Okay, race will start in 10 minutes time. 17:12 local. Another 10 minutes. All right. Well, oh, this is wild. Is this what F1 does? They create entertainment. They have a track now that so doesn't fit with with the whole storyline that they're trying to create here in the 2026, battery powered nonsense. That they can't use the battery power, the straight line mode, the active arrow, whatever in this and they are using battery power storage. They're just not using the boost modes. Um, you know, they don't have that gimmick to play with and to entertain the masses with that now. They just throw a bunch of penalties and flags and safety cars and infringements. Like, what are we doing? I mean, Hamilton is a little bit back there as well. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what they make of those then. I would really hope that they figure out with having over 10 minutes. They've been looking at this much before we were told about it. So they have all this time to look at things. If they don't come up with a verdict before we start racing again, that would just add to the nonsense of it all, you know? All right. Well, the drivers are getting serious. They've got their helmets on. They're ready to go, making their way to the cars. No penalties have been given out, mind you, yet for those infringements. See if anything sticks. 8 minutes to the restart. Now, they haven't said if this is going to be a standing start or a rolling start. I would imagine a rolling start, which would effectively bring this down to a 10-lap race. Oh, man. So Lewis Hamilton's on his scooter trying to get to his car, and the cameraman was right in his face. He just put his hand on the lens and pushed him away. That's funny. Why is in such a rush? Was he crunching one out, maybe? Do not love his helmet this week. Why he went with this, like, I don't know. It looks like a flower. I don't know, with daisy, petunia, something like that. Do not like the color. Should have stuck with the yellow. Doesn't even fit with it. Like, it clashes with everything else. I don't know. Sometimes that guy just don't know. So Hamilton Hedger still noted. Nothing given. We are 6 minutes to the restart. Listen, these guys have the tools to figure out, is it 10 car lengths or not? Is it worthy? Are you gonna go directly by the letter of the law? Just figure it out. It's not that hard. Give the penalty, don't give the penalty. Lance on the being talked to here, interviewed. Hmm. He was talking about the engine braking, how it kind of lunged him forward a little bit, which is part of this battery nonsense, right? Where the algorithms kind of just like make things up as they go. I don't expect to hear much from Charles. He's probably crying in a dark room somewhere. Yeah. 5 to go now. Cool shot of the swimming pool. It looks like a cool swimming pool. Doesn't look like one of those Olympic lane swimmers. Maybe it is. I don't know. But in terms of just like leisure swimming pools, I always wonder, like, you have the Mediterranean Sea right there. Why would I go in a chlorinated swimming pool when I could just go in the Med? And that's probably, I know that harbor with those boats probably isn't the best, but I would drive down the road a little bit and just do the real thing, you know? The boats. I could only imagine. I always thought about that. Like, it's hard enough when you're in the car at one of these events and you're in the parking lot trying to drive out. But when it's a boat parking lot, like if you were in a rush to get away, I know most of these guys are rich and they don't care. They're just partying on their boat and whenever it leaves kind of idea. But it would still be quite the logistics nightmare to get all those boats out of that harbor. We are still not sure on if it's a rolling or a standing start. Really, guys, like, what's going on? We're still not sure of those two penalties to Hadjar and Hamilton. We are still not sure of the style of start to this race. They have been stopped for like nearly half an hour and they haven't figured these things out. And what is supposed to be the most prolific F1 race ever in its entire history. You know, like it's I don't know, man. I don't know. 2.5 minutes. So we will hear from Charles. And yeah, he's on like the verge of tears. I don't know if he's on the verge of tears, but you can see it in his eyes, like he's yeah, dejected. Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot to say. He's trying to find words, but doesn't know how to say them in this situation. Yeah, I totally understand. Uh Basically looking at a second place. Fuck, dude. Cars are back on track though. I'm gonna say it's a standing start. Yeah, he said he barely touched the brake. Well, it'll be interesting to hear more. Was it a problem with the car? Was it the road? It's probably a bit of both, when the car's not doing exactly what it wants on an unpredictable surface. Same with Stroll, right? If his thing was engine braking, just at that wrong spot. Well, gonna have to look at the data. Still cars coming out of the pit or coming into the pit? I'll be starting from the pit lane? Well, somebody tell me how this race is gonna start. Okay, green light on the pit lane. The cars back on track again. No penalties posted up for Hamilton or Hadjar. Lap count is down to 69 because they did take a little warm up lap there back into the pits. Okay, so it's a safety car rolling start. All right, safety car is out. Well, moments away. And it will be a 9-lap sprint to the finish. Russell complaining about Hadjar leaving huge gaps. Russell, if you went a day without whining, the world would stop spinning. Right, coming through the high speed chicane into the final couple of turns here. Hadjar saying I'm slow, I don't have enough power. That Red Bull, man. Okay, Hamilton, no further action. So he gets off with one. We still don't know about Hadjar, who was given the warning before him. I don't know. I don't know what to say. This race control today. Okay, lap 70. So we're under another lap with the safety car. What? It is a standing start. Oh my god, we're just finding this out now. Oh my lord. The confusion, the nonsense. Why can't we just get a straight answer with what's going on here? Standing start? Fuck, man. Okay. Now, are they cooking that with Hamilton? Because we're still not sure with Hadjar. They know Ferrari, Hamilton get off the line better than Antonelli has. And just to create that excitement to get a Ferrari win, a Hamilton win. Is this being? I mean, the job still needs to be done, but are they trying to force a result, force the excitement? I don't know. That's just how much they withheld this information and not being transparent about what's going on. But they are coming around into the start finish line there. Start boxes. Safety cars come into the pits. We still don't know about Hadjar if he gets a penalty or not. Guys, come on. All right. Well, I mean, I'm just kind of anxious right now. 11:16. This has gone long, much longer than expected. Okay. Let's see what happens. And the lights. 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Hamilton does not get the jump. Antonelli's ahead with Hamilton in second. And everyone is off here. And Russell sitting in third is just slowing the pack down completely, knowing he's got to drive through. It's just, yeah, what's Russell doing here? He jumps into third, but then just slows it up. Oh my. Oh, nice. Oh no, Williams and Audi. Oh, there is something down there in the hairpin. Yet there's seconds behind Hamilton there. Now the question is can Hamilton send it to Antonelli? And there's good. Oh my God, no! Does he keep it off the track? Signs. I think Signs is out of the race. Pretty sure he was the one that was given the contact there in the hairpin. Another lap down. 7 to go. And Antonelli finally dropping in a solid start when it matters the most. It looked like maybe Lewis had a slightly better start, but not anywhere near what would have been needed to get the jump. Now Russell still has not served the penalty, as he's continuing to just back the field up. What is he attempting to do here? Weird. It's unsportsmanlike at the very least. And oh, more contact, another Williams. Albon pushed wide at the Nouvelle Chicane. So maybe was Russell just trying to create chaos to maybe get another safety car out? I don't know. But that's playing with fire for sure with people's safety, and he would complain first if it was his safety, you know. So he is now serving his drive-through. Russell's been noted for a red flag infringement. Oh my god. His race is done anyways. Oh, sorry, that was Hadjar. Hadjar noted. Russell out in 14th now. Let's keep in mind there are only 15 cars racing, with Williams now in the list of constructors out of this race. 7 cars out from 7 different constructors. And like I said, Russell effectively taken out of the race. You know, that's 8. It's essentially 8 teams without anybody in the fight. Yeah, Russell just slows up, and that's what creates the chaos. Haas was made a little bit of contact. There was 4 cars that in some way were involved in that contact at the hairpin. all because Russell just slowed it right down. And is that worth looking at? What Russell did? Is that something in the real rule book that they can look at? Science, yeah, it was science both times. No luck at all, and to none of his fault. And at the end, so Adjar's penalty is going to be investigated after the race for the red flag infringement. Colapinto science incident is noted. Yeah, Gasly on the 10-second penalty as well still. But he's essentially into clean air now with Russell out of the way. And if he can make up a bit of a gap here and not serve the penalty and just race the clean air for the last 4 laps, Hadjar still complaining about no power. And Hamilton, after all this excitement, 2.5 seconds back. That's not going to change unless Antonelli makes a mistake. Hamilton very comfortably in second. Still not going to get his first win here with Ferrari, but certainly back into form. Now, that being said, they've had to rely on other cars dropping out of the race. But I mean, Leclerc, okay, is what it is. But how many, other than Leclerc and Stroll, everything else was, well, and signs at the last there too. But you look at Verstappen, Bottas, Behrman, Norris, all coming out, retiring early due to mechanical issues. Ferrari still has not retired due to mechanical issues. Interesting as well is due to these results, non-points by both George Russell and Charles Leclerc today, Lewis Hamilton will be sitting in second place in the driver championship. Interesting enough. Um, yeah, I mean, they've created their drama this weekend, F1 has. So Hadjar still within 3 seconds of Gasly. Hadjar complaining though about okay, what's this? Perez false start out of position under investigation. Um Perez sitting in 11th though, so 2 seconds back. He's fighting for a point. Kimi Antonelli fastest lap of 1:13.481. Just pushing it. 5-second gap to Hamilton. My lord. Antonelli's got it, man. What can I say? Antonelli is the shit. He's absolutely locked in. Going to take a 25-point jump just today. 156 points to 88 points. Like George Russell just lost the championship here today. Or should I say Kimi Antonelli just secured the championship here today. He's still 66 points ahead of Lewis in second. Final lap. 6-second lead. Kimi Antonelli. I mean, unless he goes into a wall on this last lap, he is an absolute stud. And he is the only one here today that showed that he is deserving of this championship. 19-year-old coming to Monaco and making everyone look silly. And with Gasly's penalty, I think he still finishes 7th. That's gotta hurt. He goes 3rd over the line. Alpine putting in a decent show this season as well. Adjar, we still don't know what his penalty is gonna be. Oh my lord, 6.5 seconds. Antonelli continues to pull away. And he's coming around the final couple turns here, and he's going to cross the finish line as the 2026 Monaco Grand Prix champion. The 19-year-old does it 5 straight, and he is well on his way already this early in the season, showing everyone how it's done, beating out every other champion out there on the road once again. Hamilton coming across in 2nd. Gasly's going to come across in 3rd, but will drop back to likely 7th. 8th after the penalties. Not quite enough there. So Hadjar, still under investigation, but Hadjar coming in 3rd on the podium. What a race for Hadjar, despite his issues as well. Piastri in 4th, the proper McLaren driver. Lawson and Lindblad, the 2 RBs, hitting 5th and 6th. Gasly does drop to 7th. Albon, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Perez, Alonso, Bortoleto, Russell, and Colapinto. And in order of last to first of the retirements, Sainz, Leclerc, Stroll, Norris, Behrman, Bottas, and Verstappen. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that is your Monaco Grand Prix. That did go longer than we wanted today. So on that note, we had lots of time to discuss all the what ifs and what did end up happening. So guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Like, subscribe, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Kick. For the football stuff, we are also on Assist. We are basically everywhere. Join us everywhere. All the links are in the description. Guys, thank you so much. Lewis Hamilton, 2nd in the championship. Kimi Antonelli and Mercedes just see you later. Hulkenberg getting a 10-second penalty actually puts Russell into 13th. Good job, Russell. And Cadillac gets a point. Cadillac gets a point because of that. Cadillac gets a point, everyone. Which puts them in 10th place over the scoreless Aston Martin. And that means something to them, that's for sure. Hadjar, we still don't know if there is any infringement, if he's going to get called back. I don't think they will. What a race. I honestly, it's not even the race. Not even the race. It's just all the crap surrounded around it. Man, Hadjar's tire is trash. Absolutely trash. Oh God, Kimi Antonelli coming in for first again. What a day. Okay, guys, I'm shutting this one down. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, follow, share, all that jazz, please and thank you. It helps the channel out so much. And I know guys on X, most of you guys watch on X. Just give me a follow, guys. Just hit the follow. It's not hard. Just do it. F1, footy, bit of everything. A bit of hockey, a bit of baseball. We got a bit of everything. But for sure, footy, for sure, F1, we're here for you. Thank you so much. Congratulations to Kimi. Good job. Lewis as well as Hadjar today. And rough race for so many others. Thank you once again. And until next time. Actually, Wednesday. Back something Wednesday. World Cup preview. Boys are back together.